welcome to Gamer TV. Stay tuned for some stellar reviews including The Sims 2 and Star Wars Battlefront. We hang out with the world's top footballers. Well, top Pro Evo players, it's almost the same. And Head First talks to us exclusively about their plans for Deadlands. But first, here's a Japanese update. Fans of the achingly beautiful Ico will be pleased by the recent announcement of a semi-sequel, whose title translates as Wanda and the Colossus. Details are scant, but we can tell you that the game will involve attacking 80-foot-tall giants armed only with a bow and arrow. Sounds like fun then. With a multi-format sequel on the way, it's a good year for our favourite superhero, Beautiful Joe. Now comes the news that he'll be appearing in his own cartoon this October. Although the series is only to be shown in Japan at the moment, we here at Gamer have high hopes of seeing his distinctive red pants around the rest of the world soon. Speaking of Japanese exclusives, Nintendo is taking its new baby, the DS, out to meet the public. With Nintendo not appearing at the Tokyo Game Show nor holding its own Space World event for the second year running, it would seem that the Big N is worried Sony's PSP may steal the limelight. So, the mildly inaccurately named Nintendo World Touch DS Tour will visit 5 major cities in Japan this November, which should neatly coincide with the machine's December launch date. You may not have heard of the action horror western Deadlands yet, but don't worry, you're not out of the geek loop. It's just we're the fastest darn gun in the West, and we've got some friends in high places. You don't see this kind of preview every day. A game so far from release, it doesn't even have a publisher yet. In fact, you're watching the very footage created to attract one. Deadlands is a mix of western action and classic horror, loosely based on a popular real-life RPG. We met with Scott West of Head First Productions to find out more about the game and its somber hero, the Stranger.
Basically, he died and he's been brought back from the dead. He's been possessed by an evil spirit and he's now seeking vengeance on the Seven Sins gang who originally killed him. We're using the license roughly. What we're doing is taking the level locations and the world, the substance and the core of it, and what we've done is made it more mainstream for the mass market appeal, to be honest. There are still role-playing elements in there, but what we've not done is made a role-playing game. We've made a pure action game with adventure and exploration and puzzle-solving elements in it.
True to form, even this early footage is full of Wild West-inspired hideousness. If the giant demon Grizzly wasn't enough of a clue, then take in the ghostly locomotives, phantom gunslingers, and look, a monstrous crow. We asked Scott about the ongoing visual development of the game.
The visual style is it's been something that's been concept worked quite a lot, and that the art team had a very clear vision what they wanted to do, and that was meld the two genres of western and horror together. What we didn't want to do was create a gothic horror setting or just a completely western setting, which would be, you know, too generic really for the type of product we've done.
Could devilish westerns be the next big thing? Will the next wave of evil cowboys be enough to send John Wayne galloping to the toilet in fear? Dunno, but if any one game can do it, Deadlands stands a decent chance, and we're behind it all the way. If these guys were real footballers, they'd have the big car, the designer clothes, and the singer/model wives. But as pro gamers, they have to France and the chance of winning $10,000. It's not all bad, is it? When it comes to professional gaming, there's only really been one way to play, and that's using a mouse and keyboard. Classic games like Quake and Counter-Strike have always led the way in major tournaments, but even console favourites like FIFA Soccer have only ever been played on the PC. It was therefore a surprise at this year's Electronic Sports World Cup when the PS2 version of Pro Evolution Soccer 3 got in on the Pro Gaming Act. It's the first time a PS2 game has appeared in a major gaming tournament, but after pulling in some hefty crowds, it's unlikely to be the last.
I think in the near future, console gaming will take over PCs. Big games on the PlayStation especially are starting to really take up.
Some real console games are ready for esports now. It was not the case 2 or 3 years before.
We caught up with British hopeful Robert Cunningham, who gave us an insight into the punishing life of a virtual footballer.
I'll probably play around about for an hour, 2 hours a day on my own. Maybe, if I was lucky, meet up with my friends and try and practice against them as well. Normally before a tournament we'll practice form exercises for the D-pad and for the triangle, circle, square motion.
With such a tough training program, makes you wonder why he bothers.
Well, the main reason I'm here is obviously for the $10,000 would be a great money boost for me.
Sadly, Cunningham's Pro Evolution skills weren't much better than his real football, and he was sent packing in the first round. His departure left the way clear for French outsider SamSam and European Pro Evo champion X-Side of Germany, who went head-to-head in the final.
We're underway.
After a tense opening 30 minutes, the deadlock was finally broken by the underdog SamSam, who made use of home advantage with the opening goal. The young Frenchman then extended his lead to 2 just before half-time to put the pressure on tournament favourite X-Side. So far so good for SamSam. Going into the second half, and the fresh fingers seem to be working for X-Side, who pulled one back with this long-range effort. But the class of SamSam shone through as he went on to tap in a third.
Down the right wing. The shot. It's in. Whoa!
At this stage, you could see the Frenchman beginning to relax. A fourth goal sealed the victory as SamSam secured his place in the ESWC history books. 4-1 the final score, and with $10,000 in his pocket, this was one very happy Frenchman.
I'm very happy. I like football a lot. I like football. So Pro Evolution Soccer is the best game.
No, it's okay. It's the second place. $6,000. And the finalists, SamSam, was very good. So it's okay.
Footy fever certainly gripped the ESWC as Pro Evolution and the PS2 successfully completed their professional gaming debuts. We're therefore shocked and appalled that no further events are scheduled in the coming months. So come on, pro gaming organisers, let's see more console gaming and more Pro Evolution in the future.
Scored a second goal. It's success.
I have this image of George Lucas in Skywalker Ranch sitting in Star Wars pyjamas on a gold-plated sofa playing Star Wars games. I bet he even does the voices. But anyway, enough of that silliness. Here's Star Wars Battlefront.
Which way?
The Star Wars saga's epic battle sequences scorch indelible marks on the psyches of 70s and 80s kids. But apart from terrorising schoolyards waving imaginary lightsabers as we did back in the day, we've never been able to participate in these sci-fi wars.
Our reinforcements are being depleted.
LucasArts' Star Wars Battlefront for the PS2, Xbox and PC has finally changed that. Essentially, Battlefront applies Battlefield 1942's cooperative multiplayer concept to the Star Wars universe. Fighting in this faraway galaxy is done on behalf of one of 4 factions, the Rebel Alliance and Galactic Empire of episodes 4 to 6 fame.
Activate the droids.
Yes, sir.
Or the Republic Clone Army and Separatist battle droids from the more recently filmed prequels. It's classic good versus evil all the way. You choose your character from a range of military types with varying abilities and equipment. Standard infantry, scouts, heavy weapons specialists, or pilots.
Target acquired.
Highlights among the playable characters include the vicious Roland droidicas and the dark stormtroopers with Boba Fett-style jetpacks. Up to 16 online players for the consoles, or 32 for the PC, then take control of their chosen troops while well-implemented AI handles the battle's other tooled-up combatants. Single players, split screen and LAN modes are also provided for offline soldiers. Dominating the battlefield means controlling command posts. These are captured by holding position nearby until it's claimed by your side.
We've captured a command post.
That post then becomes another spawn point where your forces can rejoin the carnage.
Our reinforcements are being depleted.
Finish off the enemy's remaining troops and victory is yours.
I'm taking an awful risk, Major. This had better work.
Battlefront is an intense blast of pure Star Wars and will no doubt thrill a younger generation of Padawans while fulfilling many nostalgic sci-fi fantasies for the old-timers. 4 stars. Still to come on Gamer TV, we visit Atomic Planet Studios and we review The Sims 2, so don't go away, we'll be back soon. Get up to speed and welcome back to Gamer TV. Plenty still to come right after this. Here at Gamer TV Towers, we're big fans of Yu Suzuki's epic Shenmue saga. There's nothing we like more than catching buses, working, and talking to idiots.
Got a problem? Then I'm your man!
Yeah, right.
So imagine how gutted we were when Sega apparently dropped the series after the death of the Dreamcast.
Damn, I lost him.
Then imagine our joy when out of the blue this trailer appeared on the net. Shenmue Online, a massively multiplayer online game for the PC set in 1980s flavoured China. The bad news is that at the moment there are no plans to make the game available outside China and Korea, but we're glad to see that Sega haven't given up on the Shenmue series just yet. Fingers crossed then for Shenmue 3. EA has a license to print money. It's called the Sims franchise. But as you know, sim playing isn't an instant gratification deal. So for the past couple of weeks, we've been playing The Sims 2 to death so we can finally bring you this review. No one could have predicted that an unusual game without ultra-violent shooting, super-fast cars or rampaging alien armies would go on to become the best ever selling PC title. But that's the highly unlikely success story of The Sims. EA's life simulator captured millions of hearts with its charming computerized people. Now a sequel's here. The Sims 2 lives up to its predecessor's achievements by moving things forward in every possible area. The first thing that you'll notice about The Sims' new improved world is that their lives are now viewed in full dynamic 3D. You can pan, zoom and twist the camera around their more elaborate dwellings to get a good look at all the fancy furnishings and products you've supplied. Set them up with a nice widescreen plasma telly and you'll actually get to see what Sim TV is like. Give your lucky Sim a games console and they'll happily stick themselves on the sofa for a session of SSX3. Sims character models are also now more realistic. Not only are their movements smoothly animated, they've really been brought to life with uncanny facial expressions that convincingly display the more basic human emotions. Due to its enormous depth, The Sims 2 probably isn't for you if arcade thrills are your thing. But if you enjoyed the first game, you'll be knocked out by the franchise's latest lease of life. 4 stars. The Sims may have had more than its fair share of expansion packs, but United Offensive is the first add-on for the excellent Call of Duty. We can be more pleased. To most PC gamers, the prospect of an add-on pack to Call of Duty is as attractive an idea as being locked in a hotel room with a video camera, Paris Hilton, and her less inhibited younger sister. In other words, more of the same is exactly what you want. Well, here it is. 12 new single-player levels, 3 new multiplayer maps, and a whole smoking heap of intense period combat. The action contained on United Offensive's disc is as cinematic, frightening, and awesome in scale as any veteran pistol popper could reasonably demand. The absolute crowning glory of this add-on is the Plain Gunner level. A simply magnificent air battle filled with exploding fighters, white-hot metal and thankfully a big parachute at the end. Throw in jeeps, tanks and one rather unfortunate train and you have an essential enhancement of an essential game. United Offensive's action is more intense and more involving than its parent title. Things get noisy very quickly, and if end-of-level cutscenes used to annoy you, watch out, you'll be praying for them this time.
Guys, this may be the hardest day I've been through.
Whether pelting across fields under mortar fire or ambushing an enemy convoy, United Offensive is far more accomplished than most standalone titles. It gets 4 stars.
Yes!
Atomic Planet are the company behind the forthcoming Jackie Chan adventures, which, you may remember from our recent preview, we thought looked pretty damn cool. So when they invited us over for a visit, we jumped at the chance. These days, it's hard to survive in the games industry unless you're A, Microsoft, B, Sony, or C, bankrolled by another large corporation. However, even that's no guarantee of survival, as Acclaim, the publishers behind huge hits such as Burnout and Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, recently went bankrupt. We travelled to the north of England to visit the small independent games developer Atomic Planet to get a snapshot of what life is like for a small studio today, what a difference a license can make, and to find out how they got started.
When my brother and I were kids in about 1981, we went on holiday with the family and we spotted a Space Invaders machine and we got absolutely hooked. And when we got our first computer, the ZX81, the following year, we started playing around with it and realised it wasn't that difficult to program a computer.
After setting up and then selling their own games business, then working for Acclaim on a number of titles, the boys decided to go solo once more and set up Atomic Planet. However, although they're a small company, there's some big numbers involved.
The first couple of games I did probably got paid £400 for, and probably took me three weeks worth of work in my spare time whilst I was at school. Whereas now, you know, it's talking multi-million-pound budgets for some of the biggest games out there, and your average game is probably close to £1 million.
Among Atomic Planet's recent big-budget projects are a couple of well-known TV tie-ins.
Recently we've been working on Miami Vice, which is based on the 80s TV license. We're working on Jackie Chan Adventures, again another massive TV series, and it's a lot of responsibility for a development studio to know that the publishers kind of pay them that kind of money to make a game, and that game's then got to recoup that money, so there's a lot of pressure.
And proving you don't have to relocate to London, LA or Japan, Atomic Planet have stuck to their guns staying in the sunny north of England.
You can develop video games from practically anywhere in the world as long as you have connection to the internet and you have a phone line.
So it doesn't matter where you are, the UK is filled with massively talented people. We're one of the game development capitals of the entire world.
They have the talent, but making a profit is even harder than making a good game.
It's probably quite rare that a developer makes a lot of money on a game, and those cases are getting fewer and far between, but we're all always hopeful that we will, and so that's what keeps us going.
Preview time now. When Johnny Depp's mascara-heavy Keith Richards impression won him an Oscar nod, we knew pirates were well and truly back in vogue. Time then to dust off a classic. It's Sid Meier's Pirates. Imagine the life of a pirate minus the blood, minus the scurvy, and minus the boiling of insubordinate cabin boys, and you've got Sid Meier's Pirates. A thoroughly jolly game about the antics of murderous robbers. Don't worry though, you'll play a nice pirate, and we asked Barry Cordill of developers Firaxis how your character first took to the high seas.
Your family has been taken from you. You're the only one that's left. Eventually, as you get older, you sign on for a ship from Europe, from the old world, to go to the Caribbean. It's a very harsh voyage. Things are going very poorly. The captain is terrible. Eventually, the men mutiny. Things are going poorly until you heroically save the day, and that's sort of how you end up with some men that are willing to follow you in a ship.
The game is looking comprehensive enough, with dueling and courting both playing a part. You'll be able to trade, attack and loot enemy vessels and take on rival commanders face to face. However, Barry had his own views on the key to the game.
The most important thing in the game is that your commodity is your life. You say all you have is time. So when you get beaten, that sort of takes away from your time. In other words, if I could either go to jail, where I would have to maybe try to sneak my way out of town to cut that sentence short, or if I fail sneaking out of town, then I'm in for maybe 2 years of my life.
Sid Meier's Pirates is a franchise steeped in history. This latest version certainly looks pretty, but you'll have to wait until it's poised on the Gamer TV plank before you find out whether it'll float your boat or not. Enough bad puns now. That's it from Gamer TV, but we couldn't leave you without pointing out the excellent FMV sequences in Star Wars Battlefront. Let's go back to a galaxy far, far away.